Hello, everyone. We're just going to give it another minute and then we'll get started. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar, Road Warrior Wellness, a Survival Guide. This is a continuation of our wellness webinars, which is part of our series of virtual events focused on transportation and commuting options presented by Transaction Associates. My name is Courtney Goldberg, a program manager at Transaction Associates, and the moderator of today's webinar. Joining me are my colleagues Kelly Marsacci and Julie Quinn, who will be assisting with the facilitation of our webinar. If this is your first time joining one of our webinars, Transaction Associates is a full-service transportation consulting company based in Woburn. We operate regional groups called TMAs, or Transportation Management Associations, and work with individual clients to manage their on-site transportation programs. Everything we do is centered around decreasing traffic congestion and improving air quality by reducing the number of people who drive alone. We also have a division of our company that operates shuttle services. Today, you will hear from Kirsten Wright-Jarrett, a certified holistic health coach, corporate wellness educator, and founder of Your Wellness Scout. Kirsten has been providing customized wellness solutions for private clients and corporations for nearly 6 years. We will focus on tips and solutions for improving your daily habits, preparing for a healthy commute, and how to revamp your snack drawer for more mindful eating. Kirsten will also provide you with effective goal-setting options so you can feel satisfied with integrating wellness into your commuting routine, however you're getting to work these days. Before getting started, just a few housekeeping items. Throughout the webinar, we welcome your questions. Please use the question panel on the sidebar of your screen. We will try to answer all of your questions during the webinar. This webinar will be recorded and you will receive a follow-up email with a link to the recording that we hope you will share with others or watch again at a later date. There will also be a short survey at the email. There will also be a short survey in the email for you to complete. Everyone attending today will have a chance to win a one-on-one session to work with your Wellness Scout to identify your most important goals, what stands in your way of achieving them, and how wellness mind shifts can enable long-lasting change. This 30-minute session will be fast-tracked for making the most of your time. So let's get started. Take it away, Kirsten.
Thank you, Courtney, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Before we get started, I want everyone to take a few deep breaths in and out. Go ahead and start right now. Just go in and out. Do a couple more while I kind of do a little introduction about that. I'd like you to reflect on 1 or 2 goals or action items you want to walk away with today. So for the next 40 minutes, focus, stay present, try to minimize any distractions, and try to think that this is actually going to be work for you. So let's stay present and let's get to work and let's get started. Very quickly about myself, Courtney gave a brief introduction. I'm a certified health and wellness coach, corporate wellness educator. I do meal planning, one-on-one, kitchen makeovers. Not been blogging so much anymore, but I do a lot with Facebook posting and things like that. I actually used to, I was in the corporate world for about 12, 15 years. I saw the pressure of compromising health for work. I saw what happened when just by making some mind shifts, some daily shifts, small steps, changes here and there along the way, and improved my health. I also improved attitudes, moods, relationships, work, productivity, and more. I enrolled in a coaching program, and from then on, I've just been passionate about helping others feel empowered and inspired with knowledge. And so that is the goal today, to empower and inspire you to make changes that you need in your daily routine for long-lasting health. So our objectives for today is we're going to identify the effects of road warrior lifestyle on health and discuss the challenges to making healthy choices as a road warrior. That's part 1, looking at the identification and then as well as the challenges. And then part 2 is going to be the bottom 2, is learning tips and techniques for maintaining your health while commuting and traveling and setting realistic goals. We're going to spend a majority of our time on part 2. But remember, I mentioned some goals. So what we're actually going to do is start off with a poll question. The poll question to get you started on your goal setting is, Kelly, you want to go ahead and start that poll?
Yep.
Is which realistic wellness goals fit your needs best? Develop a plan for reintegrating commute, identify 3 snacks to pack, establish a logging off time.
So we'll go ahead and leave this poll open for about 30 seconds. We'll let everyone get their votes in. About 5 more seconds for any last minute votes. All right, we're going to close the poll. And it looks like we have a 50-50 split between identifying 3 snacks to pack and establishing a logging off time.
Okay. That's very helpful to know. So if that's your goal, that's something that you could definitely learn from this session, and we're going to learn how to implement that. There are also some other goals. If those two didn't fit quite into your wellness needs, they could be like we said hydrating. How do you hydrate before caffeinating? Do you have issues with challenging workout videos? Do you need to find a meditation app? Do you need to search out more healthy eating options? So these are all goals, the simple goals. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be life-changing. It has to be something that just can resonate with you and is actionable, and you can start tomorrow. We definitely will talk about the snacks and the logging off. We can definitely talk about that as we go through our tips section. So first, I know all of you probably are doing this because you know and you feel the effects of commuting and being on the road, or whether pre-COVID and hopefully longer down the road after COVID, if you're traveling a lot, how is your body's reaction to extensive commuting and traveling, constantly getting up and going? Now that we have been at home for a period of time and we're transitioning back into the workplace, are you out of your routines? And what makes a road warrior? Are you constantly eating on the go? Are you eating out of your car? Are you, biking and shoving, food down your throat before and after? And so, it's all about looking how those challenges and impediments enable you not to make the right choices. So how do we move beyond that? Another definition of a road warrior is someone who, commuting 45 to 60 minutes a day, one way or both ways. So some people I know drive all the way from New Hampshire into Massachusetts, and that's a good, 2 to 3 hour commute each day. Are most of your meals on the road now? Are you eating, are you snacking more? Are you buying more fast food? Are you noticing that you're doing less cooking? Demands on time. One of the things is we know that going to this grocery store for a quick stop has really shifted. Now we're trying to chauffeur our kids around more. Demands on our time is very different now, and a lot of it has to do with going places and trying to get things. And a lot of those things are food, waiting in line outside the restaurant, whatever it may be. Our shifts on time have changed. And maybe you've never settled into a home routine for eating and exercising. So all these things are definitions of what make you like a road warrior and ravaged by road warrior. And because of that, do you end up feeling like this? Do you feel like you've turned into a sack of potatoes on your couch? Do you feel that blah, right? And so we oftentimes want to try to feel more like this, right? And, we can't have this 100% of the time. You're not going to always pack a healthy lunch, 100% of the time. But if you're doing it a percentage of the time that meets your wellness needs, that's fine too. And it's hard to just jump right back into the routines that we had before because we're still in the shifting, navigating period. So sometimes what makes the transition easier is back into commuting, is having a plan, figuring out, like we said, identifying snacks, having more of that compartmentalized time at home of, I log on, I treat it like I work on a commute. I commute from maybe my home office desk space into the living room, or, whatever it may be, but trying to draw a better line so that you can feel more holistically well-rounded. And what happens when you don't is, we're going to talk about that and maybe hopefully some of you are aware about this and it'll resonate of what happens when you become ravaging. Maybe you'll see this connection is, poor sleep, weight gain, get sick more often. So I know there's been recent studies out, hopefully, and that's been pushed out by the CDC and more, that immunity is a big player these days too. It's really important. I love it as a health coach hearing that, because I know a lot of people in my professional field have been saying that for so long. Immunity is so key, and your immune system is decreased by poor eating, poor sleep, stress, those things. So it's a cyclical reaction. So remember that sometimes when you work on the sleep, you're going to end up working on your weight, you're going to end up working on your illness, and that they're very tied together. What happens if you don't? I think if any of these resonate with you, then you definitely know that you have been feeling the ravages of stress and maybe eating on the road too much, not putting sleep first, not being able to exercise. You know, even the low libido happens. I don't know if many of you even realize that. You know, there's some even things you don't even realize that are latent inside. If you're over caffeinating, it creates a higher anxiety, which then with everything that's been going on, you know, anxiety is not something we need more these days. And as I said, it relates to weight gain. You get dehydrated, you get more headaches. If you have that headache in the afternoon at 2 or 3 o'clock, maybe the stress compounded with the change in habits, you're less desirable to go find something new on the weekend to do. You just want to sit on the couch. And so these are a lot of the effects of when you've been ravaged by whether it be, again, stress, commuting too much, traveling too much. So I'm not going to go deep into these because, again, we want to focus on the tips and solutions. But if any of these resonate with you, or if they're new to you, maybe you're saying, I didn't realize that, you know, I've been feeling kind of lack of focus and I've been feeling I don't really have any interest in doing anything. Well, that could be very directly related to your health. So our goal today, again, is to help, you know, now that you see that these are the effects of some basic health parameters, you can just easily change that through maybe some sleep, through mental health, some exercise, some breathing, and some healthy eating, right? And it's not going to happen tomorrow. It takes some time. It's kind of like a stair step, you know, eating well, sleep, mental health, they're all huge. They're all part of our life. And sometimes it's very difficult to work on them simultaneously, but if hitting one, you can hit many others. Let's just quickly look at some challenges to eating well. So do you face any of these challenges? And if you do, we'll talk about how to overcome them. Locating good food. Are you eating too late? And I'll back up. One of the reasons it's important to understand the challenges, because challenges help you understand how to overcome the problem. So if I know that, let's say that I'm eating late, and that's my problem, that's my challenge, I'll say, for trying to eat better. I need to work on why I'm trying to eat late. What is it? Am I stressed? Am I getting enough nutrients during the day? Am I bored? Am I not going to bed? You've got to understand your challenge to why you're not eating well. Maybe you're running on the road and you haven't packed, and so you stop at fast food and get overly caffeinated, overly sugary drinks. Maybe you're snacking between meals too much. Maybe you were grazing the refrigerator or the pantry. Now that you're at work, maybe you have too much in your snack drawer. What is it? Maybe you aren't able to actually, when you're commuting, you can't think of healthy things to bring. You know, a bag of apples in your car in the summertime doesn't really work well. Or if you're biking, you need something light and transportable, right? And food deserts. Do you work in an area where there's really nothing to go get to eat? Nothing, like nothing at all. There might be a Starbucks. You don't want to waste time to go find food. Other challenges, no time to forage for healthy choices. You're doing a lot of Zooming and you're networking and you're catching up, and every single one seems like an opportunity to have more alcohol. Just so you know, alcohol sales actually have gone up 250% in this period of time, which I think is indicating that everybody is using that coping mechanism a little, you know, more than maybe it should be. Are you skipping meals? Are you binge eating? Are you not having enough water? You know, what is it that's keeping you from eating well? Is it any one of these things? Maybe you didn't even realize it. You know, skipping meals is a problem because then you actually don't eat a complete healthy meal later, or you overeat, which wreaks havoc with your insulin. Are these challenges sleeping? Do you have loud noises? Your room temperature and darkness? Again, if these are challenges, here's a goal right now for you. If you know that you aren't sleeping well because you have too many loud noises or the temperature isn't cool enough, then right now you go home tonight and say, okay, I'm going to set my temperature to, I don't know, 68 degrees when I go to sleep, whatever, I'll put a fan on. Those are ways to know whether you're not, you know, how these challenges are kind of provide you the stepway into what your goal is. Are you having too much alcohol after that Zoom call, or is you're too full from dinner? Are you thinking about the world problems? You know, is there a temptation, as we've seen with one of the goals? Are you working, logging off, but then working again later, which happened anyway before COVID? But it's the idea that there's this transmutable time where we don't ever compartmentalize our works when we work. work at home, sometimes we're working all the time. What happens is you end up, then it's like 9 o'clock, then it's 10 o'clock, then it's 11 o'clock. And before you know it, it's 1 a.m. before you're in bed. Other things, your phone isn't silenced, you're out of your routine. Rushing now that you have this new routine of having to get on the road now, go back to work. You know, again, stress and worry. Meditation apps. A lot of people say meditation apps are a great way to kind of just jump right into a calming experience, you know, because otherwise has to be self-directed and you have to motivate yourself. And having that app provides that no-brainer way of guidance to help you through a meditation experience. And lastly, challenges to exercise. Are you accomplishing it first thing in the morning? Maybe you don't have great workout conditions. Maybe you can't go outside. Early AM or post-work meetings, again, with Zoom and people knowing that no one has a commute, have you noticed your meetings getting earlier and earlier and going later and later? Or coworkers with kids can't meet in the middle of the day. They have to meet later at night. So a lot of our routines have really been gutted, not only by the COVID, but the fact of having to rearrange our schedules. And if you're now commuting to work, and some people aren't, are you feeling like you're on the road more and that's compromising your time? So we've reviewed some of the challenges quickly, and you know, we've talked about any of them resonating with you. And it's helpful to review the challenge, as I said, because if you have several, that could fall into one of these buckets. So rather than often look at the specific challenge, you could say, well, do all my challenges around sleeping and eating and exercising, does it all have to do with time? Does it all have to do with resources? You know, because if it all has to do with one of these buckets, that can also help determine what a larger goal is. Maybe your, 6-month goal would be, all right, I need to reconstruct my day so I get an hour in the morning for myself somehow. Again, it's not going to happen tomorrow. Maybe it starts off as 10 minutes, but the idea is that if it falls into one of these larger buckets, you may have to set a larger goal or enlist some support in order to address one of these things. And also, if you know it has to do with time, if let's say you solve the time issue, then you've now hit upon several of the other factors. Like time is my thing I got to work on. And when you work on that, you're able to address the sleep and the exercise and the eating more easily. Remember, if you feel like this, it's hard. You don't want to try to, but like I said, you might all be feeling like this. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit more today. But the idea is that before it was, 100% of maybe achieving all your wellness goals. Now it's 50%. That's fine. Challenges make life interesting. However, overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. So remember that looking at this challenge is an opportunity to really embrace a new mind shift and a new way of being. So let's go on to part 2. I know that's what we've been all waiting for. So I want to, before I go on to that, to go into part 2, we have a poll. So Kelly, you want to go ahead and start the poll and I'll read it? What is your biggest wellness challenge when commuting? Is it eating and nutrition? Is it getting exercise, the mental sleep, or all of the above? So think about what your greatest wellness challenge and what bucket it fits into.
So again, we'll leave this open for about 30 seconds. We'll let you all get your votes in. Got about 5 seconds left. So if anyone hasn't answered the poll, go ahead and do that now. Okay, here we go. So it looks like 14%, the biggest challenge is eating and nutrition, 29% say getting exercise, 14% say mental or sleep, or 43% say all of the above.
All right, that is great. Okay, so exercise, nutrition, but most of you say all of the above, which is great to hear, but it's good to hear you're in tune with that. And sometimes what you do is when you hit one of these goals, it'll affect the others, as we've said. And this is why. There's a wellness cycle. Poor sleep. You skip your workout with low energy, you over caffeinate, then you have too many sweets and carbs, and then you're up working late with Zoom dates and binge TV. And what happens? This wellness cycle perpetuates. Or you work on maybe this wellness cycle. You get improved sleep, you get your workout, you have energy, you choose healthy meal options, and then you maybe have no alcohol, and you maybe read and go to bed. So the idea is sometimes doing just one thing can have a cascading effect on others. And sometimes in order to understand that, you just have to have 1 or 2 tips to know what. Let's talk about that. Some of the eating challenges is, and again, I'll back up, you do not have to do all of these. You got to find the one that resonates most with you at this time, right? So maybe you want to clean up your eating. And clean eating means that you have freshly made foods in their original form with little to no additives. They don't require a box or a plastic container or some snazzy transportable package. An apple, string cheese is like clean eating, right? You can't always do that all the time, but you could try that majority of the time. Being prepared, having supplies, looking at if you want to have a bag of bars, do ones that are 5 ingredient or less. Focus on things that have full fat and full flavors, because it will satiate you longer and you won't go for then more things, which equates to more calories. Thinking about what's feasible if you're taking the train, if you're in the bike or your car. Be prepared. Try to do a little research. If you commute to different offices, quickly Google what's in the area if you need to get a quick snack. Is there even a grocery store? Don't forget grocery stores. They are great places to go for healthy for snacks. Here are a couple of lists of snacks that hurt your body, as I say, and snacks that nourish my body. I don't like using bad and good, all right? Because you know what, a candy bar can be good sometimes, right? It's good, but when it's harmful in your body when you're relying on a majority of the time, right? So it's important to think about things that nourish and make my body feel healthy. And this also helps for a much more healthier mindset about food versus thinking that it's bad and good, right? So take a look at this list. It's really, if you'll notice, a lot of the things are natural and whole form, low in sugar, and from the source, okay? It's not going to be a lot of packaged products. I know that the bars are really, really great for transporting, totally fine with that, but just make sure the ingredients you can A, pronounce, which means you know what they are, and B, there's few of them, okay? Looking at your snack drawer, if you regularly travel to the same office, maybe you have a snack drawer. Oftentimes it could look like this, right? Well, and snacks are fine. There was a 2016 work site perks article. There's an article saying that one of the worksite perks that should be eliminated is the snack drawer. And I don't think that's the case. And I think people are turning away from that. And I know that was 4 years ago. But the idea is that it needs to be consciously rethought. It's ensured that it's packed with quality items, packets of nut butters, chia bars, dried fruit in small amounts. If you can have a refrigerator, put yogurt, put hummus. I have green juice down there. It's actually just green powder drink. Throw that in a little bit of juice and water, and you've got your salad and a drink. So, those are the things about your snack drawer being really important. I know we've sent you a handout that also includes a lot of these snack tips and items you can get at the grocery store that help you feel that you've that hit on your crunchy, hit on the creamy, hit on the texture, hit on the salty, hit on the sweet. So you're getting everything in your palate entertained, let's say. So what are some other tips about food? If you are dining out these days and you feel like that's an option for you, just remember to pick things that are going to be, again, nutritious and filling. Review the menu in advance, self-assess whether you're hungry, split with a family member or take half home and use the rest for lunch later. Crowd out with veggies. So as always, you're going to run offensive on feeling drained, and you're going to run offensive on eating out, as well as on that healthy eating and snacking if you crowd out with veggies. So crowding out with veggies means fill up your plate with veggies and a little bit of, let's say, a high quality protein, some grains. When you crowd out with veggies, you're going to fill yourself up on those, right? Skip meals that aren't worthy. What that means is just if it's not something beneficial for you, then don't worry about eating it. Do you really need to have that, snack at 3 p.m.? Some things about alcohol. That's very much a big temptation. I know it's hard, especially I think nowadays when people are trying to find some comfort. And so think about ways that you can modify and start working on diminishing it. Have more water, drink, put club soda on the rocks with some lime. It's a wonderful way to feel refreshing. I sometimes do this no wine or alcohol Monday through Thursday, right? Think of it like a school night. It doesn't mean you binge on the weekends either. And think about temptations that come along with it. Right? A lot of times we do mindless eating when we're having the alcohol. So again, that's one of those decisions that when you cut out one, you might have another beneficial effect for another health or wellness goal. Eating late, that's also happens a lot of times. So your vending machine and snack drawer, if you are going to a vending machine at an office, think about what you can eat there that's going to be healthier for you. Okay, think about, again, what's going to nourish you. Think about how packaged it is, right? So there's a lot of different options. I've mixed some signals in here. We've got some green juice and apples. Pretty much take a diagonal line along from the top left to the bottom right. And these are some things that kind of can help you figure out what to kind of focus on more. High quality fats, low in sugar. Let's move on to sleep. I know some of you have mentioned all those. Sleep is kind of one of those things that are becoming bigger and much more of a priority. A lot of companies and organizations are understanding the effects of it. Alcohol, again, we just talked about alcohol. Limiting it or refusing it or abstaining from it is very important to keep regular sleep. If you have been drinking, sometimes maybe you notice you wake up in the night more, right? Reduce your sugar intake. That's another thing. Ensure you can alter your room temperatures. Maybe get a fully dark room. Try to work on light escape reading. So what this means is you want reading that's not going to bog you down with the world's problems. I know a lot of people have actually moved towards more fun TV and fun books, and that's fine sometimes. That's great if you need that escapism, because we have a lot going on in our world today, and if you're looking at Facebook and you're looking at the news right before you go to bed, those thoughts and all of those problems are going to fester in your head at night. Some other tips are a notepad by bed for an idea. So if, let's say, you have a lot of stress and worry about your job, about maybe your family situation, put a notepad by your bed. If you wake up in the middle of the night with a thought, jot it down. You've gotten it out of your head. You'd be amazed at how just that process of writing down that note really gets it out of your head. Scents are a great way to actually enhance your sleep. Lavender is known as a sense of calm. I actually put it in my desk at work sometimes, and if I get stressed, I would just take a mild whiff and it would just calm me immediately, right? Mute your phone with only ice in case of emergency. So for instance, my mom, if she calls me in the middle of the night, I would get it, but nobody else's phone calls, which is good. Think about ambient noise. It works for kids. It can work for us. And set an alarm to wake early versus burning the midnight oil. I know there are some people out there who are more night owls. If that is truly you, I'm not going to force you to go to bed and wake up early, but majority of us, many of us, actually do better on a biorhythm where you're waking up earlier and not going to bed too late. And again, this kind of shifts for everybody, but for a lot of people, getting that rest is amazing for having the energy the next morning. The other things that have related to mental state and sleep is meditate, use this app or CD or music, as we mentioned. There's so many apps out there that can help you sleep. I can provide maybe some later, but there's so many that are really trying to push themselves out into the market. Things to do before bed, you can journal. So I always say turn off your phone, turn off screens at least 30 minutes before you go to bed. And in that time, you could draw coloring books, fun adult coloring books, journal, listen to nice music, try to use your room as a place to unwind. I know that's so hard if you live in an urban center and you don't have a lot of square footage. Your desk in your bedroom has become one and the same. And if you can, try to at least not work on the bed, try to take the laptop and even work in the living room or another space, and try to really use your bed and your room as a sanctuary of sleep. Okay. Try not to racing off to the commute. I know if you're getting used to that, the best thing is to start to set time limits, put a timer, set a timer 30 minutes before you need to be out the door. If you're that type of person, I know I am. If I set that timer, when that timer goes off, I better be ready to get out the door. If I'm not, that means I'm running behind. So sometimes setting a timer and setting up a time that allows you to really get out the door, if you're one of those who leaves at the last minute, is very key. And what it does is it just adds stress, it adds anxiety, cortisol goes up, then you start reaching for the sugary foods, and I think you can see the cycle. Some tips to help you get moving. Sometimes you can pick out and set your workout clothes the night before. I know one tip was you wore your workout clothes if you were in a hotel room. I don't think you need to do that at your house, but maybe if that's what you need to do, you sleep in your workout clothes and you get up and you run out the door and go for a run. You got to do what works for you. Get friends and family members. My daughter loves doing Rodney Yee yoga with me. And so that's how she'll do yoga with me. And it's actually fun. Oftentimes set your alarm 30 minutes earlier. In your mind, you're like, I'm going to get up at 7. Or I'm going to get up at 6:30. When the time comes, the alarm goes off at that time. You might go. So it's better to set that alarm earlier if you're really motivated and you really want to get out at an earlier time to work. And try to get some variety of like high intensity interval training type things and workout videos. We have so many of them out there these days. So as we all know, so I think there's enough to choose from, and you can find some that are free. The biggest thing is setting a realistic workout goal. Avoid self-sabotage. And what I mean for this, and this means this can be transferred to all goals. If you're going to say, I'm going to work out 5 days a week, and then you don't, and then you say, I didn't meet my goal, what's the point? Set a realistic workout goal. I'm going to work out 2 times this week. You work out 2 times, you feel successful, you keep doing it. The next week or in a few weeks, you make it 3 days a week. Make it realistic that's actually going to work. Otherwise, you set yourself up for sabotage and lack of success. Do lunges and squats while brushing your teeth or on the phone. Stretch during calls. Do those simple things while you're watching TV. I got a picture of myself with my daughter and when she was a newborn and her 1-year-old friend now, or what was 1-year-old at the time, and we did a Fit and Mama, Fit and Well workout session. So we used our children to work out with. You know, there's a resistance band picture on the right. That's a great transportable, easy to use at your home. You can just do like 10 minutes of various different exercises for your arms, for your shoulders, for your chest, for your back. They're awesome, and they come in different levels too. So there's so much out there now for at-home workouts. There really is an excuse except for time and getting used to it, because I used to hate working out at home, hated it. Now I've had to. If you're in an office and you've been doing that, try to move every hour. You'd be amazed how just quick, easy, just motivational movements every few minutes can really help keep you engaged and energized. I know they sent these links out in an email. These are 2 fun, Abe and Desk Yogi are 2 just very small movement, small time allotted workouts. So Desk Yogi is yoga you can do at your desk and your chair, and the activity bursts everywhere are similar. Just every hour on the top of the hour, getting up and doing 10 squats. Get your colleagues involved. If you're on a Zoom call for 2 hours, do that. Stop for 5 minutes and everybody, maybe somebody goes for a bathroom break, but then some of you do 10 push-ups, or whatever you can do. It'd be amazing how just, again, those small movements make an effect. Deep breathing in the morning before you go to bed. I also say just get up and do it. Don't think, just go. Take public, or walk. If you are feeling fine to take public, take that. Ride your bike, take the stairs. Really try to think about how you can get movement probably inserted into your life. You probably have a client or maybe a customer or a coworker who would love to get out. Have a walking meeting, walk outside, socially distanced and safe. Being outside is the best thing these days, so why not? And if you have any unused offices, you can use those for stretching and moving and such. The biggest thing is changing the mindset, right? So, you want to stay convicted, you want to be committed, you want to try to get some routine amidst the chaos and time management. And what I also say is focus on inclusion versus exclusion. Think, what can I have, not what can't I have? This works a lot with the food, the crowding out with veggies, as I mentioned. Think about all the things you can have versus what you can't have. Think about the snacks that nourish your body, not what you can't have. Try to stay committed to within a time frame so you can log off from work and have that time for yourself. Because when you have that time for yourself, then you'll be more enabled to be maybe a less snappy spouse or a less snappy colleague or a more patient person when you've given yourself that time to put that oxygen mask on first to give you those stress relieving measures, right? And remember, it's a mindset that can be applied to all different areas of your health and wellness. So we're gonna do a recap, just because it was a lot of information, and we're gonna talk about some goal setting. So here are some top tips that maybe you could look at incorporating. Maybe prepare some transportable snacks and water bottle before you get on the road tomorrow. Try to avoid sugar before bed. Maybe pick out your workout clothes, host a walking meeting, maybe get up and do some 5-minute of breathing exercises. That's another thing those meditation apps are helpful with, is because they allow you to do those deep breathing exercises as well. And it kind of gets you in that state of mind of being present, calm, and taking that moment of breathing. Hydrate. Maybe during this, you started to do some squats. More power to you. So whatever it is, these are some tips that maybe you can implement tomorrow. Again, just pick one or two. Maybe pick one for sleep, like avoiding sugar. Oh, wait a minute, that avoiding sugar before bed, that's also about eating. Then there's also the fact of exercising. Maybe once you do that, you will have energy in the morning to get up and just do a 10-minute routine. Something simple, something easy. What stops you from putting this into play? I think for a lot of people, you know, it's been, they think this is so much, but I'm overwhelmed. How do I do it, right? I want to stop and think about, well, there's different ways. You could be purpose, intention, you stay committed, you have communication, you set a SMART goal, you self-assess, and you do all of these things in order to try to help you overcome a lot of the impediments and challenges to setting a goal. But I know we have one more poll question because we want to know, you know, on the days that you are not commuting, how are you using this extra time? And I'll plug this in a minute. So how are you using your extra time?
Again, we'll leave this open for about 30 seconds. We'll let everyone get their votes in. Select one of the following: prep my meals / snacks for the day, do a workout, sleep in, mental break, listening to a podcast, reading, journaling, etc. About 5 seconds left in the poll, so if you haven't put your vote in yet, go ahead and do that now. Okay. So it looks like 50% of you are sleeping in, but 33% of you are taking a mental break. 17% of you are prepping meals and snacks for the day, and no one's working out.
Well, this is good. And the reason why we're looking at this is because think about that. You have that extra time. Now, maybe you've lost that with your commute. How can you set a goal so you can keep that? The sleeping in one, well, you might just have to go to bed earlier, right? Maybe you won't need to sleep in if you are getting proper sleep. But if you want to continue one of those things and you aren't able to, use this goal setting mechanism and way to try to continue that. Or think about the benefits of switching up. Maybe you can meal prep at night. So all these things are all related because we know things have changed. And before or even now, you may be feeling like this, right? And we're trying to make it so that you're feeling more energized, you're eating right, and there's that cascading. I'm going to go back to I'm going to go to this actually. So you have your wellness cycle. So remember your wellness cycle. You're trying to encourage that wellness cycle so that you can continue to have long-term sustainable. So again, a little bit each day, you know, just what's your goal? How can you implement one step tomorrow and make it a lifelong change that you can continually to build upon? That's it for me. I want to leave some time for questions. Again, I can be reached at yourwellnessscout@gmail.com. I really want to thank Transaction Associates for having me. Always love to come to present to you all. I'm passionate about what I do, so I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirsten. I actually started doing a couple squats while you were talking, so yeah. So I don't know if anyone else tried that. I did some squats and some high knees with my headphones on, and it felt good to move a little bit. So
yeah. Got to do that functional movement whenever you can.
We have a couple questions. One is, could you recommend any vitamin supplements?
Sure. I mean, it kind of depends on what you're looking for when you need a supplement, but I mean, a basic one is definitely a multivitamin. I think definitely calcium, magnesium, zinc, because the zinc So immunity and magnesium helps as well with that, and mood. That there's also if you are vegetarian or vegan, B complex is very essential because there's a lot of B vitamins that are found in more animal products that you aren't getting when you become vegetarian or vegan. And there was another one, vitamin C, I think is really important. With all of that though, I will say quality. It's very important you focus on quality. So I know sometimes vitamins get expensive, but if you're paying for something that is a low quality and your body just pees it out, you've wasted your money, right? So dark bottles, good companies. I know a list, if I can send that to you all, like Soul Ray, Nature's New Chapter, and that. So again, the quality is even more key. But basically, multivitamin, calcium, magnesium, zinc are good. B vitamins. If you're looking to get deeper into supplemental, like magnesium, or if you're looking in for more specific concerns like lysine or arginine or things like that, that's based on a specific need.
Thank you. So you mentioned a lot of different things you can do with food. I was just wondering if you had suggestions for maybe 2 of the most important foods that you'd recommend for general overall health.
Yes, that's quite a question. I would say one thing is nuts. Nuts are really good. They're high in protein, they're filling, they're a great snack. So I think nuts is a really good one if you don't have a nut allergy. A lot of people who are allergic to peanuts, it's a legume, so it's different. So I think, unless you have like an almond or a cashew nut allergy, but nuts are good. And then I think one of the other things would be, I know I may surprise myself on this, but like yogurty, kefir type stuff. And the reason why I say that is the probiotic, because probiotics are so key for your gut health. Your gut, 75% of your immune system is in your gut. If your gut's gone haywire, as I say, it's the garden that needs to be tended, the rest of your body will suffer. So, and then greens, but I know greens encompass a huge food, so I'll just leave it at nuts and yogurt for right now.
Okay, great. One more question. Would you say, do you think that having an apple and peanut butter as a snack before bed would be okay?
Yes, it's definitely a high, it depends. You really shouldn't be having like something a half hour before bed, but if let's say it's an hour before bed, an hour and a half, that's fine. But yes, that's definitely a snack. And the reason why too with that is that's much better than a banana per se, because the high glycemic index of a banana makes your blood sugar go up and down quickly. There's a lot of fiber in an apple, and an apple, the goal of having fiber with sugar is that fiber slows the process of the sugar being absorbed into the bloodstream. So that's why apples are so good, because it slowly digests. So what it does is it won't upset your stomach. Now, you will also probably, maybe if your stomach is still working, 3 hours later, that's not good. But I think with an apple and peanut butter is a much better snack than so many other things out there. So yes, if you're gonna pick a fruit and the peanut butter, that's fine.
All right. Well, Kirsten, thank you again. That was so informative, as always. I always learn something every time I hear you speak, so thank you. As far as our winners, I'd like to congratulate Carolyn McCarthy from SynLogic. Carolyn, congratulations, and thank you for listening today. And we will be in touch with you via email with your information about your prize. So just to conclude everything, thank you to everyone so much for joining today's webinar, Road Warrior Wellness, a Survival Guide. And again, I'm Courtney Goldberg. If you have any questions about Transaction Associates or the services we provide, you can reach me at cgoldberg@transactionassociates.com. Thanks so much, everyone, and be well.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.